Hello, writers. Come write with me. My name is Michaela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my channel, Write with Michaela. I'm very glad to have you join me on my channel, so don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so we can go on this journey together. Before we start today, I would like to wish my husband a happy anniversary. We were married on a palindrome date of 7117 or July 1st of 2017. And we discussed palindromes in season 2, episode 27. We have been married 9 years. Today, in our episode, we are going to explore the world of a well-known author who wrote under the pen name of George Orwell. He has written several books. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Part 2, Chapter 8, which is labeled VIII in a book club format. And this is also, I think, the second Chapter 8 that we had. I think we had a Chapter 8 in Part 1, and now we have a Chapter 8 in Part 2. And we're going to discuss this in book club format, which means I expect you have read this chapter before watching the video. The version I am reading is published by Signet Classics. The copyright was 1949, and the copyright was renewed in 1977. Now, this chapter starts with a brazen Winston and Julia both arriving at O'Brien's house. They didn't take the same path there, but they both arrived at O'Brien's place. And then the book goes into setting, describes the elaborate place with the plush carpet and the wainscot. The servant shows them in, and Winston becomes nervous. And there is a telescreen in the room. They don't say anything, and O'Brien speaks into his speak-right. Then he heads to them. He turns back and turns off his telescreen. Okay. So that is a shock to Winston and Julia, and to me. Well, not really to me, but it's a shock to Winston and Julia. And I kind of expected that the inner party would be able to do these kinds of things, but I wasn't totally sure. O'Brien is inner party. He lives in luxury and has privileges, and there is silence. O'Brien then asks them to speak. Well, Winston confesses everything. Just like he did to Julia, like when he told her, I thought about murdering you. He tells O'Brien everything. They believe the conspiracy of the underground movement. They're enemies of the party. They believe O'Brien is too. They want to join. And lastly, they're adulterers. And there is Martin and wine. Martin is the servant. So Martin brings in the wine, and O'Brien tells him to sit down. So then O'Brien asks them what they're willing to do. So now O'Brien, he has the speak-right or the telescreen off, but he has a witness kind of thing. He asks them what they're willing to do, and he lists some awful things. I mean, horrific things like throwing sulfuric acid in a child's face, which is an unimaginable thing to do. But Winston agrees for both of them until O'Brien asks if they are prepared to separate and never see each other again. Julia breaks in the conversation and says, No, we're not willing to do that. Winston and Julia learn Goldstein, however you pronounce that. Goldstein is real. The Brotherhood is real. They learn that they will get assignments, and they won't even know the whole picture. They learn that they will be given a book, and they must read the book, and that will make them part of the Brotherhood. Julia leaves first. O'Brien asks Winston if they have a hiding place and Winston tells of the room. O'Brien says, good for now. But they will need to change the room or change the space. And then Winston leaves several minutes after Julia. And that's the end of part 2, chapter 8, or chapter VIII. So it's 3 I's. Now, I'm not sure I would have agreed to all of that, especially without knowing how it would help. Now, I guess that the children are brainwashed, and unbrainwashing a person is nearly impossible. So, still, it was a lot. Winston did feel that O'Brien was asking in a persiflage way. I had to look that word up. Yeah. Persiflage means a light bantering or frivolous conversation, often characterized with witty teasing or gentle mocking remarks. So at this point, I'm not sure about Winston's judgment of character. What they're doing is dangerous. O'Brien tells them that they will be caught. They will be tortured. They will confess. They won't know more than what they've done. They will be given a razor blade to commit suicide. I'm not sure what part of that is in this environment is light bantering or frivolous conversations. Of course, I think Winston is more referring to the murder, suicide, venereal disease, the amputated limbs, and the altered faces, and not certain death that they will eventually face. So, I'm not sure what he thinks is... Well, let me find the word again so I can try to pronounce it. Persiflage. Flag. I think I didn't put in my normal stuff. When I have trouble pronouncing words, I usually get the pronunciation guide from Google and type that in. I didn't do that this time. Anyway, they will eventually face death doing this. So he knows that, but he doesn't know about all this other stuff. So leave a comment on if you would have gone to O'Brien's place with Julia if you were Winston, or you would have just gone by yourself for the dictionary, or the pretense of the dictionary. And I told you about the dictionary. He should have kind of clued in that the dictionary wasn't the real one, because whatever O'Brien was working on, not O'Brien, Science was working on 11 or something like that. We discussed that. Now, leave a comment on if you would have trusted O'Brien to place the tablet on your tongue to get rid of the wine smell. He could have just been poisoning you there. Leave a comment on how Winston is going to receive the Book of the Brotherhood and how he is going to get it back to O'Brien in 14 days. Now, leave a comment on if at any point you thought perhaps Goldstein's face had been altered and that Goldstein was now O'Brien. The book didn't say that, but did you think that? Also, leave a comment on how you think O'Brien knew Winston would be willing to join, because O'Brien is also risking a lot. Now, I hope you enjoyed this chapter of 1984. Make sure you leave your comments. Feel free to disagree with my thoughts. Now, remember, reading is good for writers. It helps us see how other people create their worlds. So, read part 2, chapter 9, and this one is now I and then X. Part 2 goes to chapter 10, or X. So we have 2 more chapters before we read part 3. Join me Friday for elementals. Join me Tuesday for jargon and possibly a new writing prompt. I'm not sure. I don't think we will, but we'll see. If you have an idea for a writing prompt or a term you'd have me discuss, or your favorite term so far, then let me know. Leave a comment. There are so many words and ideas and concepts. So as we discuss vocabulary, a lot of times we discuss the meaning of the word, but you don't have to put those words in your stories, but you could use the concept of what the word means. Our next book club for us to read together will most likely be Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Don't forget to visit my website by Michaela.com, read some character bios, send your writings and chapters to writewithmichaela@gmail.com, and leave comments on your favorite characters. If you hit the like and the subscribe and the bell, then other people will have a higher chance of finding this video and this channel, and we will continue to write together, since your likes will push the video out to a greater audience. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, please share it with them. This is Michaela with Write with Michaela. Bye for now.